Here we go. Regular slot on a Thursday, back on a Thursday night. Another all badass show tonight. Got special guest host. I'm just opening up the show just to remind you about a couple things. And then we will proceed on with the show. So what we have is Chris Mazzateris, Chris Gamble, however you know him. He's got a playlist from 1980. 1980. How many of you here were even born before 1980? I was, but I know there's a lot of young people. But anyhow, so it's gonna be cool. If you like the hard rock, if you like the punk, if you like the metal, you're gonna like this playlist. And if you don't, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna fucking do? So, but yeah, I think you will. So there you go. Teddy Tommy was 10. What's up, Chris, Walter, Scoot, Carl? There we go. So, but yeah, so before I get going, let me remind everybody, Saturday, there's 2 shows this week on the channel, and I'm not hosting either one of them. The next one is Saturday at 1 o'clock Texas time, 1 p.m. Central. What is that, 2 p.m. Eastern and 11 a.m. Pacific? Show right here. Benny Larson, going to be hosted by JD. He's the drummer from all these bands, Pandemonium, Total Terror, Off the Lamia, Edge of Sanity, and so forth. So tune into that. It's going to be cool. I was born in the late 60s. All right, we got some old fuckers in here, of course. What's up, Ruby? Ruby, I think you're going to like the playlist, Ruby. I really do. Poser Party. Well, exactly, Poser Party. So anyway, tune in on Saturday, 1 o'clock Texas time. JD's got a cool thing going with Benny Larson, one of his favorite drummers. So if JD likes his drumming, he's fucking good, right? JD's a fucking badass drummer himself. So maybe JD will pop in here shortly. Other than that, that's it. Really don't have anything else going on. So what's up, band? What's up, Rotten Punks? So anyway, let me bring on our guest host, guest DJ, guest VJ, if you will, all the way from Philadelphia. There he is, the man himself.
Hi, everybody, and I hope we can have some fun tonight.
Hell yeah.
So just real quick, my playlist, and Francisco, thank you for putting me on again. I did something kind of like, I took a dragon dice. If everybody knows Dungeons and Dragons, I took, since there's, I got to go through the decade, I rolled the dragon dice, and I got a 0, so I had to do 1980. So I was like, what I don't know what year to pick. There's such a, it's a huge platform. The 1980s, my God, music was so rich. Pick your year. My God, you got to be bound to find things. So I said, okay, I'll let fate decide. I rolled my dragon dice, and I got a 0, man. I got a goose egg. So I was like, I got to go do 1980. So I said, and some of the stuff I was saying to Francisco, ladies and gentlemen, would probably get him in trouble, and I don't want to get the show shut down because, I love my Van Halen and AC/DC and all that stuff, and Judas Priest, etc., Iron Maiden, because that was all hot in 1980, and we probably get shut down. So hopefully everything else goes well. So,
all right. Well, let me before you keep going, I'm gonna go ahead and go into the background, go into obscurity here, and you just go on. Just let me know what. I think I know which one we're gonna start with, but take it away. Show is all yours, sir.
Well, I got to start this one off with one of the bands that, really changed my life and still stick with me to this day and influenced me from top to bottom, inside and out, and that's Venom. This is from their demo. Enjoy it. You gotta love it, you know. Well, I didn't get to hear Venom till the black metal album, you know, that Christmas time for me. But, you know, man, I mean, the sound is just, it never leaves you. For me, Venom is really a core of my spirit, you know, and it still is to this day. And they perfected a sound and a genre that's just heavy worldwide in every area of metal you can imagine, in my opinion. You know, but something that's a very close and near and dear to me, that has just as much, you know, high energy and raw power and pure aggression, and just don't give no shits and don't take no prisoners, is, you know, one of my next favorites. That he was an icon for me. The band was an icon until the day the man passed away. And yeah, I did. I was very sad. I actually had a tear in my eye when Lemmy passed away, because he was definitely like my Elvis Presley for my time. You know, the man was, you know, Motorhead was, you know, for my teen years all the way until he passed away a few years ago. And so that's another part of my heart, just like Venom is. And most people with Ace of Spades coming out, he's sick and tired of hearing Ace of Spades. Lemmy himself even said he gets tired of hearing that song. He has so many other songs. He just gets tired of people saying that to him in his ear. And I couldn't agree with him more. I love the song, but there's so many other beautiful songs on that Ace of Spades record. And this song here really, I think, is a driving force. And it's kind of like, you know, sort of a missing gem that people kind of overlook. And this song is called Fire, Fire. And it's exactly what it is. So. You just gotta love those Motorhead songs you don't normally hear, right? So anyway, I can go on and on about that band. They don't have a bad song, in my opinion. So looking at the UK, Great Britain, 1980, right? Wow. I mean, their punk rock scene was already blooming in the mid-'70s, wasn't it? And Lemmy used to talk about that so much. and how they hung around. They were like really one of the only long hair rock and roll bands around. But there were some real beauties that came out of the UK that the hardcore scene was second to none, in my opinion, especially as far back as I can remember those times. A lot of the older kids in my neighborhood, the older guys, they were more heavily into the punk and hardcore scene, and they had some tapes floating around the neighborhood, and once in a while you would hear things. And you'd always see, this sticker once in a while on the guy's hat. It was a skeleton with a mohawk, and it said "The Exploited." And that's a brilliant band, and I think they should be next because they're one of the great purveyors of British hardcore. Bring it to America right now. The Barmy Army. Let's go exploit it.
Barmy Army, don't try to mess!
Such a beautiful time, wasn't it? When punk was fresh like that, hardcore, and then hitting the States, it was great, man. A lot of the older kids in my neighborhood, they had, exploited stickers more than they actually had music. But, you find those things as time goes on. In 1980, there wasn't no way to get a lot of this stuff, but you either read about it in small articles or the older kids had it somehow. That's just the way it was in Philly that time period. But sticking right there in Great Britain, I gotta say, is another great, brilliant hardcore band that influences me definitely in my songwriting as much as it exploited. And the one song I did, The Separation, for the latest Bloodstorm album, this band kind of helped influence that song too. And this is GBH, man, Great Britain hardcore. My daughter also, Eva, loves Colin.
I can't do reasons.
Great stuff, isn't it? I think so anyway. Great Britain hardcore, man. You gotta love it. Anyway, staying in the UK and thinking about so many ties there with so many really great bands that popped out of there in the early time period. Besides Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath, the bands that I really can't play on the playlist because, we don't want to get shut down. So, I do a little digging and searching. But I kind of want to stay on the theme of the more punkish hardcore crossover metal and go back to a connection to the United States. And she was one of Lemmy's great loves in his life. And she's a wild woman. She's nothing but, a fire buzzsaw, or just piss and aggression, and just a volcanic, nihilistic nut job on stage that just brings nothing but beautiful chaos to her music. And sporting the mohawk, and had such an impact on Lemmy. I believe the song "All For You" that was off of Rock and Roll album. Lemmy wrote this song. I think it was dedicated to her, if my memory serves me right. And let's just bring it, man. This is the influence of Wendy O. Williams and the Plasmatics.
Put you, baby. They're gonna put you away.
It is so sick.
Put you, baby, dressed up in red. Put you, baby, messing your head. Put you, baby, going at night. Put you, baby, turn on the light. Oh yeah. Oh no. Oh yeah. Oh no. Oh yeah now. Oh no. Oh yeah. Put you, baby, used to kill. Put you, baby, honor your will. Put you, baby, today's the day. Put you, baby, gonna put you away. Oh yeah. Oh no. Oh yeah. Oh no. Oh yeah now. Oh no. Oh yeah. Put you, baby, dressing in red. Put you, baby, messing your head. Put you, baby, going at night. Put you, baby, turn on the light. Oh yeah. Oh no. Oh yeah. Oh no. Oh yeah now. Oh no. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh no. Oh yeah. Oh no. Oh yeah now. Oh no. Oh yeah.
You gotta love chainsaws in music, right? and Wendy never failed in that area. I mean, the buzzsaws, the sledgehammers, dynamite, fire, and her larger than life attitude, man. She is second to none. Still to this day, I don't think there's an equal to what Wendy did and brought to the table live. I mean, this is for me, Wendy was a great platform, I think, for a lot of underground women to kind of come out more and be a lot more aggressive in that department. She really did. She took it balls out, man. I don't think she has an equal, you know. But speaking of ladies in metal and hard rock, I gotta say, these are one of my heavy influences. People that know me for years know I talk about them all the time. I've been on hunt for shirts and everything else for the longest time of these wonderful ladies. But to me, they are the female Motorhead, and they are a mirror image of that band, and I love them to death. These four ladies, to me, when I heard them, I'm like, this is Motorhead, but women. And they rock even better than most men did. And their songs, to me, and their music still stands the test of time today. Heavy influence, you know. And this is going back to England in the early years of Bron Records. This is Girlschool, Demolition. I gotta love them. They're Motorhead to me, except that they're women. They're Motorhead. Hung with them, did everything together with that band. I mean, what a beautiful song at times, you know. And Lemmy even said himself how nobody would touch them because they were all girls. But I mean, they've proven themselves beyond expectation, I always thought, you know, and had so much mad respect for them. And they're one of my high influences of me doing Dennis Sin, was really because Girlschool was one of them, just like Acid. You know, and it's, I think when Kelly passed away, Kelly Johnson, phenomenal. I always called her the Fast Eddie Clark of the women. I think they had a lot of similar styles. If you ever watch any of the old videos of her, Kelly, it was kind of like watching Eddie. If you didn't see her, if you just saw from here down, you know, it was like Eddie Clark. It's great. I mean, they were just a brilliant band. I think they are very underrated. And I recommend, if you haven't really ever listened to Girlschool, check out the first 3 albums, definitely. And I don't think, if you're a fan of Motorhead and things like that, I don't think you would be disappointed, because they're great riffing songs, man. They're great rock and riffing songs. And the albums are just, they sound really great. I think so. But, you know, I'm a 52-year-old guy. You know, what do you want? So anyway, staying on, you know, I think iconic women in metal and rock around that time. And hopefully this next one doesn't get Francisco and I in trouble. We will try this, but she's one of my favorite, just to the heart influences. I think of her, I always imagine she's like a cousin, a distant cousin that I never got to meet. I read her book and loved this woman even more for what she stands for, and just rock and roll, old school, you know, garage band rock from Detroit, Grasse Point, Detroit. Actually, it's a suburb of Detroit, Michigan. And she started her career in 1966 with her sisters, called the Pleasure Seekers. And she moved to England to start her solo career. And, you know, she had a lot of rough terrain to climb too, but a brilliant mind and artist and entertainer, all-around entertainer, but somebody that loved her music and believed in herself so much. She picked up at the age of 21, left for England, and said, I'm just going to fuck it. I'm going to do what I want, and I'm just going to go. And if I'm lonely and broke, I'm lonely and broke, but I need to do it. And that has been very inspirational, what she had to go through. And this is from her 1980 album, which I think is probably her best rock and roll album. And at the time period of 1980, I think she was already done doing Happy Days. And everybody knows her as Little Tuscadero. It's Suzi Quatro with Rock Hard.
She gave a lot of good jams, she was cool, so she told him what to
one of my great heroes from childhood. See her on Happy Days. I fell in love with her when I saw her, and what a childhood crush she was. And at that time, never knew she had a real career in rock and roll music before Happy Days. You're talking the 1970s, man. And if you weren't being played on major radio, which she was not, you know, I only knew her as Mother Tuscadero. And then by the time I was 19, I was like, oh, wow. She made a real band out of herself after Happy Days, which is the other way around. She was discovered from her picture on Rolling Stone. She was on the cover. And one of the producers, I think, was one of the producers. It was either the daughter of a producer or somebody related, saw the picture of Suzi Quatro, the poster of on Rolling Stone of her, and told the producer, like, that's your character right there. That's the Leather Tuscadero you want. Something to that effect, I think. But I just want to plug her book real quick. If anybody's ever interested, I think it's a great read. Everybody seems to like to read rock and roll and heavy metal books from artists and stuff. Well, this is her book, and I read it start to finish. It's really, really good. She is has such great detail in her life and how she had to start to where she's at today in such great detail, and how she was really shunned from her own family, her sisters and everything. And as much as it hurt her in her heart, she still believed in her dream and did it and overcame all of it. And all these years later, she's reunited with everybody. She surpassed. She's a great, I think, a very inspirational, triumphant story. So the book's brilliant, I think, and it made me like her even more as a person. So I want to just stay on the topic of another great artist that I love, who is from the Cleveland, Ohio area, which was running around, not going to college like she should have been, and more interested in going to the local radio stations, taking buses with her friends and bumming college and school and everything else to pursue her dream. And she lived a hard life, a very hard life, and loved her music and loved the whole lifestyle and the atmosphere, and lived it to the fullest and accepted all of her. She accepted all of the bad with the good and became something even more solid, which is inspirational and is a great influence again on me doing Denison, and inspirational as an influential artist. And I take that to great heights. And I searched the book here. I recommend this one too. It's Chrissie Hynde, My Life as a Pretender. And this is The Pretenders.
Not sure what happened with that video, but I will upload another one.
Okay.
I had it ready. I will upload another version of it. For some reason, it said it's not available. So
yeah, it's okay, dude. We said this might happen.
well, but we'll uh-oh. Did we get shut down or something? I don't think so. I still see it on my YouTube. I have the YouTube open just in case, but I think we're still running on YouTube. So I think it was just a video, guys. Don't freak out. It's a video.
Yeah, I don't want to get us in trouble.
Yeah. It was so. All right. So just I guess move on to the next one, and while you're doing that, I will find another version.
Okay. All right. So let me see. Who else can we do here? All right. I'm trying to think of my list, because like what's just happening right now, I was picking all the stuff out with Francisco. I mean, I wanted to play, Neon Nights, Black Sabbath, but, that's treading dangerous waters too. And I wanted Van Halen off of Women and Children first, and that's Dangerous Waters. And Iron Maiden, I wanted Transylvania, and I wanted Judas Priest. I wanted to put Steeler on there. So, okay, let me think here. Okay, I got a couple other good ones. These shouldn't be a problem. Well, this is a very cool band that I like a lot, and I think it's been kind of under the radar for a lot of years. And they are a band from Holland, and they're a great heavy metal band. And this is Picture, Dirty Street Fighter, man. Awesome stuff. It's riffs. Well, that was Picture, and I just love the sound of that record. It's such a just raw and just aggressive, like hard rock, heavy metal sound on that. I recommend that record if you haven't heard that thing at all. That whole record's great. I recommend really Diamond Dreamer is probably, I think, is the most pristine album out of their whole run. That's my favorite one. But you know, that from 1980, that, I mean, that's great. And even the album Heavy Metal Ears that's a great one too. I recommend them. A lot of great stuff, man. And I think they're missed by most, you know. So that's them. And I also want to strike back.
I have another version available of the Pretenders, just whenever you're ready.
Hey, there you go, man. Thank you.
I like the way you cross the street, 'cause you're precious. Moving through the Cleveland heat, precious. Taking rides and all the kicks is heel, precious. Should I was shitting bricks, 'cause I'm precious. Baby, water. Baby, water. Baby, make it. Oh, you're so neat. Was real, precious. Hotel student coming into view, precious. Pity that you bruised my hip, 'cause I'm precious. You shouldn't let your manners slip your teeth. Baby butter, baby butter. Baby make it. Oh, you're so. Do it on the pavement. Oh, maybe have a baby. Oh, we want to do it. Oh, do it. So precious. Now how the duck and Mr. Stresslow stayed precious. Tried to never, but they never made. But not me, baby, I'm too precious. Mama, baby, what up? Baby, what up? Baby, make it. Oh, you're so mean.
Well, for some people that know Pretenders back then, I could watch Chrissie all day. Her in her prime, she was awesome, man. I mean, that's you know, she had a punk edge to her. Her attitude, it said it in the song. She doesn't fucking care, and that's great, you know. I mean, like Lemmy always said, rock and roll should be rebellious just for the fucking sake of it, you know. You know, there's no law in it, and I think she lived it and breathes it and performs it. I mean, for me, it's like, how can, you know, it's inspirational to this day, and I think it's an art form missing in regular rock music, you know. And back in those times, in 1980, when I first saw her, I confused her with Joan Jett sometimes. I kind of did, you know, because it had that sort of look, you know. But all I could say is, man, if I was in that front row at that show at that time, I'd have grabbed her leg and not let go. But great stuff. I love it. You know, it's I think some of that stuff is really truly missed in today's music, and I love it, and it's something I just appreciate. You know, there's a lot of good stuff out there that I think really needs to be reintroduced to most of the public. So that was one of them. You know, it's one of the more obscure songs from the Pretenders that you don't hear that much. You know, I mean, raw rock guitar and just a, you know, piss and vinegar attitude on stage. I mean, that's great. You know, balls out. You know, that's it, man. That's the great heart of it. So I want to switch back into the heavy metal realm again, and what I was getting at the last time. And these guys are just a brilliant influence on so many people in heavy metal, and still to this day. I mean, I think Biff has a great voice, man, and this album, Wheels of Steel, I mean, from start to finish, there isn't a bad song on that record. It's so hard to pick one song, but you know, I had to pick the first song. I mean, it's just, you know, it's such a driving force and sets the tone for the whole record. And I think that's a brilliant thing when you place your strongest songs first and last, and you fill the middle up with everything that's the same. It's just it's a great combination, and they're a heavy influence on everything I've done musically still to this day. I love them, and they're riff masters to me in heavy metal. And I think they're just as important in aspects, sometimes maybe more than others, is Saxon, man. And this off of Wheels of Steel, this is Motorcycle, man. You gotta love it. some unbeatable riffing. It's just, for me, it's phenomenal. Hearing that album for the first time, that's Motorcycle Man, the way it starts off. And then when it ends with Machine Gun, the album it sticks in my soul. This is just great music. How can you not love it, Very passionate about bands like Saxon and that. And another band that has even more of an impact, I guess, a little bit more of an impact on my writing and my attitude in general towards music, really, too, in heavy metal. I have such a love for Bon Scott, the old AC/DC years. And to me, he was really, to me, a relatable street level guy, like from my neighborhood, that you can actually, he had the look of just the way older guys were in my neighborhood at that time period. And, you wanted to be a guy like that, or hang out with a guy like that, it was exciting. And this vocalist from the next band I'm picking it's a very high top 10 influence on everything I've ever put into music, everything from Agoraphobia, Denison, Bloodstorm, and Mark Strachey's Scott, in my opinion. He sounds exactly like him. If I never knew Krokus before they were Krokus, I would swear they were AC/DC songs that I just never heard of Bon Scott. And this is off the Metal Rendezvous album I heard of Krokus. And this one here is Heatstroke, start of the album. I recommend it. I love hearing that album. I love hearing that record. For me, it's such a thing of beauty. They were everything I wanted AC/DC to be after Bon Scott passed away when I heard that. And it really reinstated how much I love that kind of sound and that voice, you know? And I mean, it really does, the riffing of it, the sound of the records. I mean, there was a lot of thought and really good energy put into this stuff. And I love it. To me, that album was a street level album. It's so relatable to life on my old street that I lived on, West William Street. It just did. It had that kind of effect on me and a couple of my friends. I mean, we loved it, you know? And I think that's the beauty of music, how it binds you and brings you together with like-minded people. And it kind of presents itself an aura about you, and it lives on. And that's why I love bands like this. And speaking of cultural things and going back to my old time, my old neighborhood, and different cultural things about Philadelphia that had certain sounds. And there was a thing called the sound of the 70s, the soul sound of the 70s. And my mother was big into this stuff. And every time I used to get up and get ready for school, me and my brother, you know, when we were going to school, my mother had a radio station. I think it was WPHL. I think it was a radio station. It was a weird radio station. Anyway, my mom loved her disco, you know, and it was sort of a good, energetic thing in a sense when you were a kid to wake up to and hear some of that. Kind of had pep in its step, you know, a bit. I mean, it's not metal, but, you know, when you get older and you miss the company of your parents or loved ones, music can bring you back to that time period where I could still see, hear them, and even remember what that old living room was like in the morning, and having breakfast with my mother and my brother and getting ready for school and all that. You know, I can still remember what the smells were like in that old house and everything. And this one band, I really took a liking to as time went on, sort of out of the way I think music is missing certain things, in a sense where there was a lot of class behind certain things that were done, if this makes sense or not. And I learned to enjoy it at time to time. It just kind of it's a good breath of fresh air once in a while from the regular rigmarole of what's popular, I guess. So maybe it's an unpopular opinion, but I just want to put this one. This is Soul Sisters from Philadelphia, and this is from their 1980 album Gold, and this is the 3 Degrees. Give it up and give it in.
Give it up.
I know it's not for everybody, you know, but being from where I'm at, it meant something. That was part of our culture in Philadelphia back then. Kind of the old gauntlet going out, getting at the top, and things change, and then the new comes on the horizon. It's an interesting year, 1980, I think, you know, because that's what led into Venom and GBH and everything else, you know. But that's just a sound from Philadelphia back in the time, you know. So I can dig it, you know. Doesn't change anything else, but you know, that's just what it is, you know. I love music for the memory and the entertainment of it and what it brings to the table in life. So I can enjoy it, you know. It's not for everybody, but there you go. And Roy, I think the song that you might be thinking of, it's called "When Will I See You Again." It was more of a soft melody song. That was probably the more popular radio song, that one. But yeah, they were soul sisters from the 70s, man. And it was their 1980 record. And sticking around Philadelphia, if this one works, and hopefully we don't get shut down doing it, in the Philadelphia area, outside of Philly, there's an area called Ballackinwood. And my next pick, hopefully it goes through, is a badass woman that she paved her own way too, and didn't really take no shit, and did what she wanted to do, and lived it hard. And she created the Runaways and came back after the Runaways and went solo. And then I say this next song is great with her book, Bad Reputation, man. Let's try Joan Jett, see if it goes through.
1 second. So just
Okay.
keep talking about Joan Jett for a minute.
Oh, okay, no problem. Well, just a quickie. I know I've said earlier about Girlschool. Well, I think the Runaways, for the record, were brilliant. And they were so young that it seemed that from interviews and things that I've listened to and have read, they just, you know, they were young and they weren't really prepared for going out on the road and shocking their manager, Kim Fowley. You know, he wasn't looking out for the best interest, man. He was a party guy and he took advantage of them full tilt. And I always say Sandy West was the backbone of that band. If it wasn't for Sandy, I don't think Lita and Joan would have been hooked up, in my opinion, how I kind of remember some of the history of it. But yeah, Joan apparently was from Ballackinwood, which is west outside the city of Philadelphia. And I think at the age of 9, that's when she moved. I think that's when they picked up and they went to California. And then, you know, she started the Runaways, heavily into the punk scene, you know, into the Ramones, and she did the Germs album, things like that. And you know, she had her dues out there, you know, got her world rocked in her teenage years. But I got the book, Bad Reputation. It's not an autobiography. Somebody wrote this for her, so it's good. But I always wanted to hear her own words written, like kind of how Suzi Quatro and Chrissie Hynde did. But she's one of my top 3, you know, ladies in rock influences, you know, that I think is very crucial to a sound. And the sound and the song and the voice go together, I think, very well. So this is just my view.
Give
I mean, what can I say? It's Joan Jett, man. She was a badass. I love her, you know. But yeah, I mean, my thing about, as most people know me, you know, I have a special place for women in rock and roll and heavy metal, but it's not because they're just women, but it's the sound of their voice that goes with the music that either makes or breaks if it's good or not. Just, it can't be just because you're a woman. That's, to me, that's weak bullshit. You know, it's got to sound good, and you got to be able to perform what you're doing. Otherwise, it's worthless. You know, so certain ones just stick out, and I think it's great. And I like their story of how they had to really just go through a lot of turmoil and a lot of hard criticism, just being women in rock and trying to just rock out like guys do, you know. And if they could just put that, if they would put that stuff away, I mean, who knows how much more would have happened, or maybe they needed to have a certain prejudice towards them, which made them even harder, and they worked harder and they actually became better out of it. You know, I mean, it's the sign of the times, is it? You know, I mean, so for me, music is always a good thing. I think for me, it makes a special bond with people, and for me, it's an influential thing. I mean, hearing songs and music like we just been playing, I can put myself in a time and place and still smell my own bedroom and still feel that excitement about this music, like most of us do. I'm not the only guy that feels this way about it, but I love to share it, and I love the opportunity to discuss and share music. It's a beautiful art form, and it's exciting to me, and it keeps me excited. And I enjoy different forms of music and things like that too as time goes on, because the way I see things at my age, there's so much that is the same, and it just gets regurgitated so much, which, you know, I'm not taking things away from anybody, because everybody starts somewhere, and you got to do things to really figure out what you're made of and what you're about. Everybody's got a story to tell, and I think going through music is a good story to tell about your life and things that you do and you experience. Your friends and even certain loves and interests you have really come out in that. It's for me, it's something that I'm going to take to my grave. I mean, everything that I love about it, it exists today, and I'm just as interested as I've always been. You know, I'm not sure what else I got on my list, because I have, so we don't get shut down, and I don't want to get in trouble. So I'm having a hard time remembering what alternatives we had. So, Mr. Francisco, can you help me out here?
I think we have one more, and the song is called "Spend the Night."
Oh, how can I forget Cheetah out of Australia? Thank you.
So
this is a brilliant one. And yeah, Cheetah got introduced to me from somebody on Facebook. I forget the man's name. I'm sorry. I'm drawing a blank. But I never got to hear him. But this person reached out to me. He said, hey, you're into all this stuff. Check them out. And I checked it out. I was like, how the hell did I miss this? So you always learn something new. You know, you don't know everything all the time. But it's nice when there's this communal thing with music that we still have. I mean, the internet's a double-edged sword. There's a lot of know-it-alls, and everyone wants to tell you how to think and what to do and how you should be and act and all that. It's all horseshit, man. You know, I do what I'm going to do. You either like me or you don't. You know, interested or you're not. You can't do it. You know, I mean, I think the more you tell a person that something sucks, the more you're going to like it more, don't you? I mean, if somebody tells me they don't like something, I just like it even more. It reconfirms the strength that I have about what I love in music, you know? So this one here is Cheetah, and I appreciate being introduced to them just a couple years ago. Enjoy it. This is great stuff.
I don't want to be the clown who's known around for standing by your side. I don't want to be the face who stands in place, hidden by your light. I don't want to paint the town seen around. I just wanna spend the night with you. I just wanna do it right with you. I just wanna spend the night with you. There's nothing I would rather do. I don't wanna be a game, a late night name, a telephone number, and I don't wanna be a thought, a last resort. Whenever you're under, I don't wanna know about the things you do. I just wanna spend the night with you. I just wanna do it right with you. I just wanna spend the night with you. There's nothing I would rather do than spend the night with you. Can it really be too hard? Will it really put you out? Can it really be so much? I'm asking you. I just wanna spend the, got to let me spend the, I just wanna spend the night with you. I just wanna do it right with you. I just wanna spend the night with you. There's nothing I would rather do. Hey, I just wanna spend the night with you. I just wanna do it right with you. I just wanna spend the night with you. There's nothing I would rather do than spend the night with you. I wanna spend the
I think that's such a great, refreshing sound, and I do agree with the one comment. They were better than Heart. It's just, but back in that time, I never heard Cheetah. You know, they were never played on the radio where I lived. You know, you heard Heart, of course, but I love Ann Wilson. I'm a huge fan of her. I love her voice. She's a wicked siren. But I mean, the thing that's great about this is one little sweet thing. When I actually got the CD after I was recommended and listened to the whole, I realized in the line notes that George Vada and George Young and Henry Vada out of that did the production for all the AC/DC records, produced that album. So no wonder it sounds so good, you know. Being out of Australia, I mean, how can you not want to spend the night with Chrissie and Lindsay Hammond? Great stuff.
Awesome. That was cool. Hey, we got about 20 minutes left, so if anybody has any questions, that was awesome. I like the way you set up every song, and I like how you talked about it. Obviously, you're fucking natural at this, so
I am.
Awesome. Yes. Your passion comes through the screen on every song that you played. So every song that you chose. So that was fucking great, man.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you.
Well, it's one thing, people stick around for stuff that they've heard before.
Yeah.
But when you get people to stick around for shit they've never heard before, that says a lot, about.
Wow, if that happened, then great. I'm glad. I love to share music. Like I said, I mean, this is I love it. You know, it's my passion. It really is. It's something that, you know, my whole life, it creates a whole character about yourself and your spirit and everything. And I do. I like to share music, hear music. You know, I don't know everything. You know, I just know what I know. I know what's good for me. And I think everybody, you can't tell somebody that their taste sucks. I mean, you just can't, you know,
Right.
because, you know, I'm 52. So I come from, you know, I just come from that era. So, you know, I know disco isn't everybody's thing, but for me, you know, I think back about it, I'm like, you know, how bad things have been commercially, radio-wise in this country for so long. Something like that is better than anything that's been played on the radio in probably 30 years. I mean, you know, but it's a link to my family. That stuff's kind of a link to my family, and it was in my house as a kid.
I wanted to comment on that too, because obviously I wasn't on here, but everybody here, including me, and you made me remember that there's stuff that I grew up listening to that my parents were playing that I had no idea what it was. But
yeah, I paid attention.
I was listening to it, and it stuck in my head, and then you find yourself 30, 40 years later wanting to go back to that car drive or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yes, you're exactly right, Francisco, because like I said, playing the 3 Degrees, I can remember what my living room and dining room was like, going to school, waking up at 7 a.m., me and my brother getting ready for school. And I would hear that stuff, and it was like they had a special radio program. It was like Sound of the 70s. It was Philly, and those girls were from Philadelphia, you know, and they were my first soul sister experience. I was like, wow, these girls are kind of hot, you know. I mean, they dressed classy, they looked classy, they acted classy, you know. It's a different thing. It wasn't AC/DC and Judas Priest and Venom and all that, but but you hear it, you know it, because it's like sort of part of your family, like the Beatles was with my father and things like that. It was all, it's just a sign of the times, and we were a family that played the radio more than we played the TV set. That's just how it was, you know. And most folks in my old neighborhood, that's how we were. And you know, for 1980, I mean, we didn't have Possessed and Slayer yet, and Acid wasn't, you know, around yet, and things like that. You know what I mean? It just wasn't there yet. You only had access to so much in that time period. But like I said about the punk stuff, the older guys, you know, I remember seeing exploited stickers on some of the guys' radios and things like that in the neighborhood, you know. And I was like, what the fuck is that? You know, I kind of thought it was a movie or a comic at first. You know what I mean? Yeah, because you're seeing a skeleton with a mohawk. I was like, wow, that's cool. You know, I'm thinking, what is it, Ghost Rider or something like that? You know, but then you find it's music. It's like, fuck, you know what? You know, I want to hear it, and you love it when you hear it because it's new. Right. So it's refreshing, and you know, it's like I like things like Missing Persons and Patsy Cline and things like that. I mean, I can listen to that because my mother and father had that in the house. My sisters did too, and you know, I was raised by them, and you hear it in the background. You know, I mean, I was always playing Kiss and AC/DC, but I heard that a lot just as much. So when you get older, you miss it because it's just not around them. Where radio is horrible in America for so long. It's songs that you don't hear.
Well, yeah, and my older sisters would always play, and I loved like 80s pop stuff because my older sisters would always play the radio on the weekends, top 40 radio or whatever. And and I will still look for that shit to find it and play it, because I remember I go back to like I said, I can picture like you said, you can picture exactly where you're at when you listen to a certain song or whatever the case may be. And it's just, I don't know, it's cool. You know, people, when you're younger, obviously you haven't really experienced that. You start getting older, you start like, you know, reflecting on.
You miss some of it, you know. I do, especially when people pass. For me, the connection's always been music, because when I hear things like that, I can still hear my mother's voice, and I don't want to forget that. You know, anybody that's passed away in my family or any friends, I always. The truth of it is, every once in a while, I try to make sure I can remember what their voice sounds like, and if I don't, and as guys, you know, as the universe is my witness, as core as it is, if I play certain songs and music, I can hear their voices again.
Let's go through some.
That's how I relate to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go through some questions, because people have been. I don't want to get. So somebody, I think one of the earlier questions was like, "What's your favorite? What punk band would be that top punk band for you?"
Damn, you know, well. Exploited and GBH were really the first ones I heard. You know, probably I'd say maybe a little more exploited because the older guys, they had exploited tapes more so than GBH. GBH, again, you would see stickers. Like a lot of the stuff you would see like stickers on some of these things. But I remember exploited was more accessible back then than GBH. GBH, it came in the neighborhood a little later, but it was great. I mean, I remember Colin with the spiky hair and all that. But songs like "Give Me Fire" and all that, it was like, this is fucking great, you know. And it was so much in line of, you know, at the time to me, I'm like, well, this is like, you know, it's like Motorhead and Judas Priest, but it's a more of a street level attitude, where that was too, but it was more it was relatable on a street level because it sounded more like garage stuff. You would play this out of your dad's car garage. Because there was guys like that in there, you know, trying to start the rock bands. I mean, they weren't punk, but it was the sound that was relatable. You know what I mean? It wasn't so much the music. It was the sound. It was the idea that became relatable. And then it gravitated. And I'm like, well, that sound and energy, it just bam, bam, bam. It was powerful. It was compelling, and you wanted more. And as time went on, you know, going the wall-to-wall sound and video, I mean, that's where I saw Saxon records and Krokus and you know, Motorhead and Venom black metal when that came out, that in November, it was right before Christmas, and that's one of the records I got, and it changed my life here in Venom. Now, I didn't hear the demo in 1980, you know, but the effect, I mean, it changed everything for a person like me. It did just as much as, you know, Iron Maiden and things like that, you know. So,
what about favorite '80s thrash band?
Wow, that's hard, man.
Very hard.
God, I'm not gonna sit here and take a lot. I'm gonna think the first thrash that came. Thrash. It was Metallica, Kill 'Em All. It was 1983, and I heard it when it first came out. It was like, it was a fucking big explosion in my head. It really was, because there they were, you know, Metallica. And then I remember hearing Raven about the same time too, but I didn't equate Raven so much as thrash, even though I did. But I consider Raven, they were like a Judas Priest Venom to me at that time period. That's how I related Raven. But, you know, the truth of it was, I got to hear All for One and Kill 'Em All at the same time. So I think Kill 'Em All stuck with me more because every song was just those riffs. It's the riff thing.
Right.
You know, Four Horsemen was like, that song to me was just brilliant. Me and my friend, like, this is, I mean, the riffing in it, and it was Dave Mustaine's work, but I didn't catch any of that back then. I just heard the record, and those faces were the band. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. You didn't think.
Absolutely.
You saw the record, you saw the picture, the songs, you played it, and you were like, fucking you just wanted to hear it. And then you go back later and you check it out as time goes on. But, you know, I'd have to, I mean, that's the really first initial one but they set the tone, that record set the tone. But, fuck, I mean, you know, I would say Possessed with Seven Churches, but Possessed was kind of, some people call it thrash, but then it was called death metal. It wasn't fucking called black metal the way I remembered it. I mean, Voivod, when they came out too, it was like, see, there's Voivod there, you know, but they were a whole different planet when I heard
absolutely.
And I heard War and Pain when it came out, and hearing that was a whole other change things too. I mean, there wasn't a fucking band like Voivod in that, but you know what, you're talking 84 now. When I heard, you know, War and Pain was a whole different thing. To me, that was Mad Max in music. That was Road Warrior, but in music. And it was like, you know what it reminded me of? Remember the movie Dreamscape with Dennis Quaid? Do you remember that movie where he would go into the dream and he would help people get over their nightmares?
Right.
Well, one of the scenes, the song Nuclear War for Voivod on War and Pain, that image where he went in and he saw the nuclear bomb and just wiping everything out, that wah, 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 Piggy's guitar effect, and just the way, just boom. And I would envision that explosion when I heard that song. And he would see all the people on the subway that were all burned up. That's the picture that came in my head when I heard War and Pain. that with Mad Max and that. That's what I identified it with. Yeah, thrash. That's a tough one with thrash.
Yeah. So Fraser wants to know, what was the first like all-female band you heard?
Truthfully, the first all-female band I heard was Girlschool, because I didn't get to hear Runaways till later because Joan Jett was already solo, and I can remember Runaways came later for me, but so it was really Girlschool, and it was like I was blown away by it because it was to me it was Motorhead, but it was women. And it wasn't a gimmick. It was like these, they're serious rockers, man. They were serious heavy metal rock and roll girls. And if they're fucking being pushed by Motorhead, I mean, to me, it was what more brilliant can you have than that? I mean, they hung with Motorhead. I think they were all kind of, I think they were dating each other, Lemmy and Kelly kind of thing. But I think there was something between all of them. It's like, but they hung, they were label mates. Motorhead was responsible for helping them get signed to Bronze because Lemmy said nobody would touch them. But I thought they were phenomenal,
First 7-inch you purchased.
That was my brother, and my brother had more of that too because he had a job after high school. So my brother was bringing home a lot more of those records. I was still kind of, I was a 7th and 8th grader with all this. So I'd say I remember it was Exploited. It was a Exploited EP. It had Dead Cities on it. I remember that, and I think it had Exploited, Prominent, like we just played. Yeah. That was the one. And my brother had that. My brother Frank had that because he had this guy Tony Dara, and Mike Donnelly, and Brian Shaw, and Chuck Dara. They all had like a record club thing, and they used to order the records. And they would come over to my brother's house and play them too, and I got to hear a lot of that. But I gotta say it was Exploited. I don't have no more, stupid me, because if I only knew then what I know now, I'd still have it, but it would be Exploited.
Here's a few questions in one. Ann or Nancy Wilson, favorite disco label, excluding Casablanca, Budgie or Hawkwind?
I'd say Budgie. Probably I would, I'd probably pick it because I love Susie Sue, and it was kind of like, I know that was a relation there to that too. Because I didn't hear Hawkwind till later. I really didn't. Right. I didn't hear Hawkwind till like 1990 from my old friend John Verke. He had all that. Yeah. And that was, that was kind of the space rock thing. So I didn't catch that till later. Ann or Nancy Wilson, it was Ann. I mean, she was the voice. And she had dark, everybody picked Nancy, but for me, it was Ann. I mean, that voice coming out of her was like,
crazy.
It's mesmerizing, man. It's power.
Really exactly.
Powerful. She's super powerful. And a lot of those hard songs that you don't hear on the radio, they're always the better songs. Right. The ones that aren't as popular, they're always the better songs that I think. Now, favorite disco label?
Yeah,
I mean, I wasn't like a disco fan per se, but I appreciated it more later in life, hanging out with my mother. When my mother was living with me for a while, I would sit there and play stuff with my mom because she was the one. She used to go dancing with her friends, disco dancing nights and things like that. And my mom liked to do all that, and her friends would come over and be playing that late at night, And so it was, I mean, I just remember 3 Degrees was like, everybody was Sister Sledge and, the Ronettes and all that. And, oh my God. Why am I drawing a blank with her? Donna Summer, all that. But it was 3 Degrees. They were the homegirls from Philadelphia. So I dug them. Yeah. And I thought they were like, wow, these are like really cool, classy, attractive black women doing this music. And they had the moves and the look. It was cool. So I guess whatever label they would be on, I didn't follow it so much, but.
Where did you get the crazy leather mask?
Okay. When I started doing that, that was, I got all that because I was actually, I ordered that mask online from, and a guy made it. A guy was making that stuff. And I'm trying to remember. It was a site. He had it on eBay. I was trying to get a mask made. And I'll tell you what the mask was that was going to be made. I'll go for it. An old girlfriend of mine at the time I was dating, her name was Barbara Doty, and I think some people might be still friends with her. I spent a lot of time with her, and we were very close, and we're still friends to this day, but she was a leather sculptor. She made everything from scratch. And one of the things that I always try to do was make my own gear, because, and the big reason for that was my love of Mad Max and the Road Warrior and all the old Conan the Barbarian, the Arnold Schwarzenegger years. Like, remember all the gear he had when he was pit fighting? I mean, he had those big claws, you know, with the hooks on it and all that. I'm like, where the hell can I get that stuff? But luckily enough for me, I have my cousin Charlotte was a leather crafter. She had her own tailoring shop in Blackwood, New Jersey. And she made a lot of that stuff from scratch. She had leather sewing machines. So I was like, you know, I used to hang with my cousin. I'd be like, you know, Char, can you make some of these things? She said, you know what, Christopher, just make it up. And, you know, get the leather, you bring it in, you tell me what you want, and we'll make it up. So, like the black shoulders that you see me, that's some alligator skin. And the shoulders when I was with Absu in 95, we custom made that in the shop. And I made the loincloth out of spare leather pants I had. I cut them up and made the loincloth because I wanted like a loincloth thing. You know, I was trying to get gear that was like, you know, I was influenced by Nasty Savage and Voivod for the leather look. You know, Nasty Ronnie was an icon to me. Yeah. I mean, that man was nothing but a powerhouse too. I mean, there'll never be another man like that. There'll be another Voivod. There just won't be bands like that no more. I mean, the influences, we're always going to carry our influences. And I just like to, you know, I don't want to steal from them, but I just want to carry the influence and kind of make it my way. So the fact that my cousin had the ability to make it, I'm just like, oh shit, you know, I'm going to go buy the leather and like, you know, okay, Sharp, what can we make? I want this, this, and this. I was trying to get a leather mask made. And I was trying to do it with my cousin. She couldn't do it. What I wanted tentacles. A lot like Pile Driver, he had the big spikes. And to me, it was like, you know, some of the leather masks, like one of it was the bad cop in the opening scene of, you know, of Road Warrior, when I was being chased down the road, you know, with Wes on the motorcycle, and he was the bad cop in the car. You know, he had the leather face mask and the goggles, and he had the old school motorcycle police helmet, you know, and he had the leather jacket with the buttons. I thought that was fucking cool. It was cool looking. Well, obviously you can't do vocals with your face covered, you know, and I need to be able to see what I'm doing with goggles. I'm like, I don't want to wear a motorcycle helmet. That's a Rob Alford thing. And I'm like, I would love to have like a mask because it's a cult. I wanted to make it a cult oriented too, because all my lyrics, everything I do with Bloodstorm, it's all a cult based belief system that I have. And I write in that way with my influence of Voivod, but the kind of getting the more of the chaotic energy of what Nasty Savage could do with Voivod's appearance and the old Celtic Frost. Oh, I'm sorry, Celtic Frost. I don't want to be corrected by the Encyclopedia Britannica out there online. But in my day, we called it Celtic Frost. Sorry, people. Same I know it's Celtic, but we called it Celtic. So fucking sorry. I'm not sorry. Okay? If
you say Celtic, you're a douche. There, I said it.
Well, it's just, I mean, I have an old tape just for I've gone to custom. There is an interview, and I have it on a cassette tape, where Tom Williams himself said Celtic Frost in the fucking interview. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, so it was those three bands, and my love of Mad Max and Conan. I'm like, I want to make something like this, and you can't buy it in the store. But my cousin had it, and I wanted to make tentacles out of a mask, like kind of coming out like Cthulhu. You know, all the Typhonian trilogy magic that I'm into so much with Kenneth Grant and Austin Osman Spar. I'm like, well, I can't buy that, and it's too expensive to get somebody to make it, so can I make it? The answer is no. So what I got a leather mask that was the closest thing I can get. I added the spikes, and I painted out of the Raleigh textbook I have, one of the books, the sigils that I sort of have, and the silver magic line that I practice with, and I just painted. And I'm like, well, if I can't do the tentacles, I'll do the, you know, the symbols of Nodens and the Raleigh text, and, you know, the sleeping city under the sea where Cthulhu's going to rise. And that was the silver magic line combined with that. And that's when I did Syrian Storm record for Bloodstorm. So I was trying to get that look going. That's when I dyed my hair platinum blonde. I tried to do all that, you know, now I put my fucking hair out and all that shit. So I did it for the sake of silver magic. You know, so I wanted my influence to be heavily into the music, because I believe appearance, sound, your energy, the people involved, and the crowd, because you don't have good music if you don't have a good crowd, in my opinion, because I like to be one with that. It's the energy you get back from the sounds you make and the energy you get back. It's got to go hand in hand. And I learned that from the bands that I love. And I just try to do it to the best of my ability, what I like to do. And hopefully it reaches people. It ain't going to be everybody's cup, you know, and it's not going to be their drink. But I try to reach the best I can in the best fashion that I can portray it in and just express it. And hopefully it comes back. It reaches, but it's doing what I need to do. If in my heart, I love what I do and I can look at it, that's it, man. You know, whether it sells or not, I don't give a shit. It's just got to be the belief in me. I got to believe in me, and it's got to be my way. Whether it, everybody gets or not, hey, to each their own, but I have to portray it in the way I do. So I love that look, and I had to buy that mask. I couldn't, there was a lot of influence, but I just couldn't get that. The tentacles. So that's this alternate I got. So that's where I got the mask and learned from somebody.
3 Degrees. I knew Richard would, if he was watching, I knew he would know about old labels. 3 Degrees were on Philadelphia International Records. There you go.
Well, then that's it. See what I mean? They're my Philly girls, man. The Soul Sisters, man. I love them. They're fun every once in a while.
I'm getting lost again in the chat.
I'm sorry.
No, the chat is blowing up over here. Chris is a passionate dude. You think?
Oh, well, thank you. Thanks, Justin. I'm glad that you like it. I love this music. I can do this stuff all the time, and I'm proud to be a part of it. So I have people like Francisco that put me on here. I enjoy this, and I like sharing everything with people. I love this stuff. It's like my buddy Russ Proscriptor is, he's the same way, spending so much time with that too in the mid-'90s. We used to talk shop all the time in that rehearsal room, even with Ray and Mike Kelly. Mike Kelly's more of the Motorhead Sodom guy, yeah. and Ray somewhere's in between that. But Russ was he was everything else, experimental disco, and it was kind of fun, it was it's a beautiful time period in my life, and they helped me love the music that I loved already. So I think it complimented me, and I appreciate them for that.
Totally. There will be another Russ Proscriptor episodes coming up of like playlists and stuff. I don't know if he'll come on here because he's a busy guy, but
I know
he really wanted to do more, and I really wanted to have him do more also, obviously, because he's going to bring stuff just like you did, from just out of left field that nobody would even think about, right? So.
That's 1980, my friend. I rolled the dragon dice. I'll show it again. This is what I did. Old school Dungeons and Dragons. I was a dungeon master at the age of 10. I've been into it. I'm still into it. I don't give a shit. People are like, oh, it's stupid. You know what? I don't give a fuck. Because me and all my friends and even our girlfriends sat there and we rolled the dice and played, man. We had a great fucking time. Watch horror movies and Mad Max stuff and all the old science fiction shit. Play D&D and spin music. That's what we fucking did, man. And it's just the kind of person I am, man. That's it, Yep. So, I'll do it again too. You ever want me to roll the dragon dice? I'd be more than happy.
Yeah. We can do somebody mentioned earlier, you could do the entire decade. We can do 12, 13 songs of each year. Just obviously spread out, but every episode will be like 81, 82, 83 or whatever.
I would do that. Shit, if you let me, me, my friend. If you let me do it, I could do every year. If you let me do it, I'll do it. It's up to all of you,
Yeah, but no, there's a bunch of stuff that's I got planned already, but definitely kind of sprinkle them in between like a lot of other things that I got going on. So that way it's and I started doing this that way because just to kind of change it up, change everything up because everybody's gonna think of something different and nobody.
It makes it interesting.
Nobody wants to see me, so that's why I was like, hey, give me a playlist. I'll just be in the background and whatever. And
I enjoy it. I appreciate it.
Hopefully you enjoyed it. I think you did.
Yeah. If you let me go, me, my friend. I'll talk when the sun comes up, and that's just how I am.
Yeah, so we'll definitely do another one. So we can go in order, right? So we'll go 80, 81, 82, and obviously things are going to start getting a little more extreme
Yeah, I could go into the more bands where I won't have to worry about, I loved Van Halen's Women and Children First because I didn't want to get shut down. You remember all the things I was picking? I was like, oh, Van Halen, I love Women and Children, Romeo Delight and all that stuff. And, with Judas Priest, I was like, I was like, shit, I don't want to get shut down. But it's 1980, and that's what was around then, too. So.
Oh, yeah, no, and we actually made it through without any hiccups.
I didn't think we were going to have a problem, especially with like Suzi Quatro, because she always said, she never has a problem with, and she owns most of her stuff. And I knew that record, Dreamland, Rock Hard, that record label lasted a year and it shut down real fast. And that's kind of, so I kind of knew that would probably be safe. Chrissy always said, I love to share my music. She's like, I don't give a shit about arenas and commercial rock. She said, I love to play music and I'm a club person. I want people to enjoy it. So Joan Jett, I was like, this might be, but she always usually owned all her own stuff too. She was cool about that stuff.
I played a live one too. Sometimes live.
Yeah, that's a good way. That's a good way around it. And they were good clips too. I mean, they were in their prime. It's fun to see them in their prime.
Yeah, that's why I picked those. I was like, let me pick it around that time the song came out. So just so everybody knows, because some of the stuff I was like, I don't think we could play this, but stuff that was on the list that we didn't play. Judas Priest Steeler off British Steel. AC/DC Giving the Dog a Bone from Back in Black, obviously. Yeah. Van Halen Romeo's Delight off Women and Children First. Yeah. Iron Maiden Prowler. I mean, that's one of the best opening tracks ever. It's
great.
The album.
Yeah.
And I think that's it.
So we got around a lot of it.
You may have picked a Sabbath song too at one point, but
I did. Neon Nights, Ronnie James Dio. That's when I got into Black Sabbath, was because of Ronnie Dio.
Yeah, exactly. Cool, man. I think we're just a little under 2 hours, so it was fucking awesome. Everybody share the fucking videos everywhere with your friends, and I think people will get sucked in, just like I said, just listening to the way you introduced all the songs and your little quips and stories and all that. So that made it enjoyable, So
I thought that was the point. You can maybe talk why you like the certain songs you pick. I think when you have a little story to go with it, it kind of it makes it a little bit more of a character.
Well, we grew up in the era of DJs, right?
Yeah.
Where the DJ had a personality and he just went off about all these random fucking facts, about what they were going to play and all that. So
I'm not a know-it-all, but I just try to go what it is that attracted me to it and how I found it, and just what it meant at the time. I just, how else can you explain it but what you know?
Sorry, Andy, you should have been here earlier. You can watch it on the replay, though.
Yeah, I hope you enjoy it, man. I hope, just for the record, I am still, making new Bloodstorm music. I'm making new Bloodstorm songs.
We were going to get to that, but go ahead.
As you all know, I'm a single dad, and I got a lot of things to do with my daughters. So, but it's always, I'm always writing new stuff. I actually have a title for the next record too. I actually have a title, a whole concept idea. It's all magic. It's all my magical adventures, So,
do you still have copies? Do you have anything for sale right now?
I still have some Pestilence and Dragastar CDs, but I don't have jewel cases no more. I still have some Cursedness of the Cinder Witch. There are plans to get Ancient Wraith of Ku re-released, so I'm hoping the next year Barbarian Wrath under Cheryl will release Ancient Wraith of Ku. That next reissue for Bloodstorm, people have been asking it for a long time, so I think that's the next thing we're going to work on it as far as getting a re-release done. It's that one. I think Roy from Necroharmonic has some flags, like made-to-order flags for the cover for Curses of the Cinder Witch. They came out really, really nice for the record. If anybody's interested in them, he did a great job. And I think he may still have some cassettes. My cassettes are gone. I did that deal where I was trying to make revenue, some cash for, my home life here with my daughters, and did that, hey man, for $40, I'll give you all these things, and just to kind of get it out of there, and hopefully people can dig it and things like that. I have some copies still. Think of I think I still have some of I have some of the original rendition of the Atlantean War Dragon still for sale. People just message me through Messenger. It's the best way. I go through PayPal. It's the easiest way. I know some packages got held up through the post office. There is a package that I try to send to Colombia that has been missing in some other country for like 2 months now. So I don't know what the deal is with that bullshit, but you pay for this stuff and you pay for the insurance and it goes missing and you can't get it back and it not relocated. So I try my best. I just say if I'm late on packages, message me. I'll do everything I can to get it back out to you. I appreciate anybody and everything that just supports and helps. I have some copies left of Agoraphobia's Apocalyptic Necromancy. I don't have any more vinyls left. Oscar at Rotten Records, Santa Miami, bought the last box I had. So he still got Vile Beast of Abomination. I think through him, he bought the last of those on vinyl. So I just have Apocalyptic Necromancy. I have about maybe 15 CDs left of that or 10. And that's really about it. I have some Agoraphobia patches for Omnimasochism. I think I got about 5 or 6 of them left. They're like octagon patches. And I forget who made them for me. I don't have too much, I don't have like shirts left no more because every time I make shirts, people say they want them, I make them and they sit forever because nobody wants to buy them or they just want me to hand them out. And it's like, I can't just hand them out, they're coming out of pocket. Now, if a label was getting it and I had something to give out, I'd give them away because, I want to share what I get. I like that if people like what I do, I'm happy enough to, wear the shirt or patch. I mean, it's nice to get a little cash for some things, but I'm into this music because I love it. And I'm not on major labels, and I never really believed them. I tried the major label thing in the '90s, and the feedback I got from the Krokus Records or the Osmos office in America, the people that were running that, the Nuclear Blast office running, the people that were behind most of these, I think they were a joke. And I met most of these people at the Milwaukee Metal Fest back in the day, and I didn't take them serious because they didn't take it serious. For them, it was a free ticket to get into fucking shows and hang out with the other bands because they wanted their picture taken with them. And to me, I'm sorry. I mean, Mayhem with Maniac in it back then, to me was like, whatever, man. I'm not interested in it. Nothing against it, but it's just like it was kind of a novelty thing, and it didn't, it just wasn't my thing, man. Not everybody's thing, but they have their place with people, but when you got label people that you're trying to showcase to, and they're just interested in hanging out with them, and you see them not even working on, with the bands that are on their label, they're not paying no attention to them, and they're misplacing their merchandise, and they're too busy hanging out with, they want to, they want to be party and get free drinks and tickets. It's just like, how fucking serious can you take it? When you see people that are running the office here, it's a big party for them, man. They're interested, ballpark tickets and all this other shit, but they don't do the work. They couldn't tell you Destruction Records, and it's just like, I don't want to fucking be with people like that. They're not going to back me up. I'm a tax write-off for them, and when I can't make a record, they're going to say, well, you can't make anything, you're under contract with us. Well, you don't fucking care, you don't do anything. Why would I give you my work? I'd rather just do it on my own. Fuck it,
Yeah,
I'll take the Chrissy Hine road and be like, what? I'd rather do it myself and give it to the people that like it. It's just, I'm about music and the camaraderie of people like you and I, and people that enjoy your show. I like that. To me, it's more important to have people and friends in the community. What makes us the kind of people that we are, and what attracts us to this music. To me, it's more important than trying to fucking be sold on a commercialized, badly run label, in the States. I'm not interested in that, and it's not everybody, but I'm better off doing it my fucking self, man.
Yeah.
That's just it.
So how, other than Facebook Messenger, do you hand out, because not everybody's on Facebook, do you give out your email or anything in case, because I know you're not on Instagram or anything like that, so.
No.
Okay.
Email address, it's cluttered with so much garbage and it's on a personal level because, being a single dad, I got a lot of things locked in with my school for my kids and, all kinds of stuff, therapists, doctors. So it's just so flooded. So I don't even bother with that. I just tell people, send me a message through Facebook. And I mean, because obviously I'm easy to find, not hard to get a hold of. And I still have my YouTube channel. There's only so much stuff I got up on there. Yeah. I mean, just check it out. If you're ever interested in hearing things, share the music. I mean, hopefully, you dig it and share it. I have no problem with people sharing the music. I want people to enjoy what I do. That's it, totally, man. Totally.
So, all right. So, you heard he's got. Hey, so before we go, can you talk about the reissues on that label from Cleveland, the Bloodstorm reissues? Is that something you can talk about?
Oh, you mean with Hell's Headbanger?
Yes.
With Justin? Well, we've been talking. Okay, yeah. I guess I don't think Justin would mind. I don't think.
I think he's mentioned it, but I could be wrong.
If he's mentioned it to you, I guess it's okay to mention it because it's not like the guy doesn't do good business. But Justin wants to he's going to do a vinyl version of Pestilence from the Dragon Star. We've been discussing that, and I think he's doing a picture disc of the Agoraphobia demo and a live show.
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that one looks really cool. I think I think he's got a 91 soundboard, or it might have been a Day of Death, what we did in Buffalo. I'm sorry, people. I'm so bad. He's got a soundboard of something that's old. And one side is that, and the other side's the demo. And it's a nice picture disc. It has Phil Hampton from Nuclear Death's artwork.
Yeah.
Because obviously we did a lot of. I was very close with Lori during those times in Nuclear Death. Yeah, Lori, I have mad respect for her. And Dana from Demonic Christ, I have mad respect for those two ladies because, man, I mean, they were the underground ladies of New for the 90s. Mm-hmm. And, and then I got to know them very well. I mean, Lori lived at my house for almost 2 full months. So I got very close to Nuclear Death and Lori at the time. And she's the real deal, man. So is Dana. I mean, I take them the most serious out of the ones that I know from back then. I didn't get to know too many of the others. Arquette had their spot, but I didn't know them like I know Dana and things like that. I don't know what I know.
Justin does always bring it up, so we're good.
Okay, well then, yeah. So thanks for that. So hopefully, and I'm sure it'll come out great because Justin does good work, and I'm glad he's a fan of the Bloodstorm work. All I could say is I do it from the heart. I do it honestly. I don't overthink what I do. I do exactly how it is, and what you see is what you're going to fucking get from me. I don't sugarcoat it. I don't hide it. You don't like me, that's okay. I'm fine with it. Sometimes I'll go to sleep tonight, and I'll wake up the same way I was tomorrow. So thanks for the people that have always been friends and stuck by with what I do. And if you're interested in any of the sort of the music that I was playing as a sound when it comes to Krokus and Girlschool and things like that, and the Plasmatics, when I did Denison, that was my version of my high influence on that end of the scale of Girlschool and Runaways and Acid and Wendy O. Williams, Rock Goddess, all that stuff, the Pretenders. I mean, that was my take, and I just do guitar, and Lily LaBullet was the voice, was the wicked siren behind it, and Jim Rowe was doing the drums, and, I was just doing things in light of the love and respect I have for that genre and that time. So, I mean, if you can, check it out on the Bloodstorm YouTube channel. I have those songs up, and just give it a spin and just tell me what you think and share it. It's
Andy Jones says if you need help from a drummer, hit him up. He was in Phlegm back when, so he would like to jam with you.
Thank you. It's tough in Philadelphia, man. There's nobody around here. Yep. Well, you guys are in Texas, man. You're in Texas. You're in Florida. All the guys I want to hang with. And as recently, I just spent some family time in Pensacola, and I was like 8 hours away from Houston. I would love to just go hang out with the boys, the boys and the girls, and just hang out with you guys. Texas has always been my second home, and it's in light of my time with Ray Russ and Mike from Absu, but the camaraderie I made in San Antonio and Jorn from Necrovore, and the thorn spawn days, and with Carl and all that stuff, and all you guys in Houston, and Carlos putting us on the Destroying Texas Fest in the day. I mean, there's a lot of good rich history I got to have with a lot of you guys, and I love it there. I mean, if I always said it's my second home. It really is. I got a special place in my heart for all of you, and being a Philadelphian, I mean, this is always my home. Philadelphia's in my heart no matter where I'm at. I'll never get the Kensington guy will never leave me. So, but I bring the Kensington guy to your state and town.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yep. Well, man, this was awesome. I think everybody thoroughly enjoyed it. So
I'm glad people did. And
I'm glad we were able to do it. So remember, Saturday, there's a show. JD's hosting it here with Benny Larson. He's a drummer, Swedish guy. He's in all those bands. Check it out. JD's gonna do the show. The less I have to do, the better. So yeah. So yeah, Andy's in Rhode Island. Yeah. Andy from Flim. So
yeah, I know that.
Yeah,
no, it's very cool. I appreciate that, the hookups and things. But so far, Mr. Rowe, he's right there for me. Man.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Jim. Yeah, Jim's.
We're recording now, not playing out. It's hard. I want to play out someday. I'm going to return as long as these are working. One day I'm going to play out again, man. It's just, but I'm old school. I like to be in the room with the people I'm going to play with. I don't want to rehearse on the internet. I want to be in the room with everybody and do it for real.
I agree.
You people can get to know my kooky personality up front and personal. So,
awesome.
But thank you so much for the platform, Francisco. You've always been a great supporter. Carlos, Hexella, all you guys. I mean, Frazier, everybody. Just thank you all so much for just keeping me kind of on your radar and saying hi once in a while, and just enjoying this together. Thanks. Thanks for accepting my ways. I appreciate it. So thank you for the opportunity, and I just hope everybody can enjoy it. And I want, when you're ready, let's do it again. Tell me when to make a list, and I'll make an 81 list.
Yeah, I'll hit you up, sometime before the year's up. We'll kind of space it out, and we'll definitely do another one. So
thanks for everything, Francisco. Thanks, man.
No,
good luck to you.
Of course. Yeah, I first Chris obviously doesn't remember, because he was the same guy you're seeing now in 1992 when I saw Agoraphobia play in Houston at the Action, because I remember you came up to us for I think I've told you this before, but those that don't know, it's like it was just me and my friends were hanging out. He just, hey guys, what's going on, or whatever, thanks for coming to the show and this and that. And I was like, oh fuck, it's Chris from fucking Agoraphobia. So that was cool. I never forgot that, basically.
Well, you know what, Francisco? It's like I said, my friend. Our shows aren't good if we don't have good people there, and you're good people, and that's just the truth of it. You can't have a good show if you don't have good people.
True.
You guys are great, and I'm a fan of the music. I love hearing, new things. I mean, there's so much of it anymore. It's really hard.
Yeah.
Catching up with all of it. It's and I don't want to be an ignorant guy. Sometimes for me it's tough because as you know, I'm a single dad and I really got a lot on my plate to do, and my girls are everything. They've saved me and changed my life for the better. But my music it's in my heart, just like my old neighborhood is. It's the same, and you people, all you people, you men and women, you're all the same for me too. I feel for you all just the same as I do for my music and my family. To me, it's all a good thing, and I think that's an important thing to always have. If I don't have that no more in my heart, I shouldn't be playing music no more, making records. And I think when you lose that, man, then you lose your way. And I don't want to lose my way. So I appreciate everybody, on all spectrums. And it's important.
Can't hit it better than that. So everybody, thanks again. Tune in on
the bad reputation.
Yeah, there you go. Later.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,